Okay guys, 6:30, let's get going. Boys in the back, boys in the back. Hey, ready to get going. Let's get rolling here. 6:30, so we got about hour's meeting or so?
We got an hour.
Okay, thank you guys for coming. My name's Keith Renfree, your new president. Can you hear me, Harv? Can you hear me? So guys, I found out today, first in-person meeting since 2019, since pre-COVID. So thank you all for coming out. Really didn't know how many to expect, so obviously lots of extra chairs, so you guys can move around if you like. But thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you being here. And I'd like to say, today is the coaches meeting today. We are all very thankful for the experience we have on the board this year. We have introductions coming up here, but huge thank you to Jason Uwe for helping put the presentations together as Director of Volunteers. And a huge thank you to Adam Pruss for the head coach role and putting the presentation together for you for the coaches meeting. Digging up through the archives of years past for today's presentation. So good opportunity for us, lots of material to get through, so we can kick it off with the introductions. Okay, it's myself, Keith Renfree, President. Calvin Chen in the back, our VP of Risk. Katie Larson, Director of Female Hockey. Jason Uwe, our Director of Volunteers at the camera. Adam Pruss, Director of Coaching and Development. Dennis Sato we have with us, our Referee-in-Chief for Burnaby. And Angela Sam, our ice allocator. So just a good opportunity, guys, to put faces to the names, and thank you very much. We'll get going with Mr. Pruss.
Okay, I am going to make this short and sweet. Who sat through the PCHA meeting? Okay, who's been receiving emails from Burnaby Minor for the last week and a half? Most of the information is in this presentation. The idea here is just to bring it all together. If there's any questions, we can talk about it. But we don't want to spend a lot of time on here. Everyone's got busy times right now. You got family, so if there's questions, we'd like you to ask them. But it's all just a quick summary for what you need to do to be a coach in Burnaby Minor. Okay, so if you guys are aware, Hockey Canada changed the courses again this year. They're all online. So for U7 and U9, both head and assistant coaches, you have to take the Hockey Canada Coach 1 module. The one thing that you have to understand with that is inside that module, there's one for U7 and there's one for U9. Okay? You have to take them. You don't have to take them both, but I would recommend it. If you're in there, if you're in U7 and you're going to coach U9 next year, you may as well take all the modules. If you don't, you got to go back the next year to take it. So for U13 or U11 all the way to U18, you have to take Hockey Canada Coach 2. It also has the individual modules in it. The recommendation from BC Hockey is to take all the modules. I think it probably makes sense unless you want to go back every single year. And the one difference here is everybody needs to have the check-in course as well. So that's a little bit different, I think, from previous years. In U11, you didn't need it, but you do now. So you got to make sure you have that, or you can't be on the bench. Most importantly, I'm not going to cover the rep stuff. Most importantly, everybody needs to have the respect to sport, the concussion, criminal record checks, and they need to be done right away now. In the past, you had a little bit of leeway. You can't be on the bench if you don't have those certifications already. Okay. So, by the way, with this PowerPoint, we're gonna send it out through the divisional managers, and you're gonna have it. And the reason why you might want it is we have links throughout it. So you can go to those links. You can see the requirements again. You can see the courses. There's the coaching clinic link is there, so you just click on it and you go and register for any of the courses you need. Okay. Next slide, Jason. Okay, so now, who uses the Burnaby Minor webpage? You find it confusing? I do. So either way, the Get Involved link is where you're going to find all of this information. You could go there, you could get registration for all of the programs that you need, all the certifications you need, Sportal access is there. That's really where it's all summarized. So if there's any confusion after this, you go to the Get Involved part of our webpage, and again, the presentation will have a link, as it says, and you get everything that you need there. We also have the reimbursement form link. So when you're done your courses, when you want to get reimbursed for the, I think it's 25 or 30 bucks, you fill out that form, it'll give you where to send it, and you fire it in, you'll get reimbursed for that. And now we have, we don't pay by check anymore. We actually have electronic transfer
You
now.
have e-transfer set up this year.
Congratulations.
For a lot of things, so. Sportal access, you guys, for those that aren't on it, get on Sportal and make sure you can access all your qualifications, all your certifications. I check it every summer just to see, okay, what's expiring, is my respected sports, my CRC. If you're not comfortable getting into Sportal, please get comfortable getting into Sportal. It's something that you're gonna wanna use frequently.
Okay.
Hey, can I just throw something in there?
Yeah,
PCHA's running a Sportal training class tomorrow night. Haven't been able to send the link out because I don't know everyone's contact info and shit. It goes probably your inbox. Yeah. I don't know what they'll cover, but basics, probably game sheets and setting up your profile.
It's gone to the U15C division.
Yeah, we sent it out, Dennis, to everybody. I think, yeah, for Sportal training for tomorrow, I think the division manager sent that out, yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Any questions on requirements?
The reimbursement form, right now for the coaching, the coaching reimbursement.
Yep.
Online, it mentions like February 2024 dates on it. I don't know if that's right. I don't know why, but
Yeah, I'm not,
the form seems a little
The
outdated.
form itself says 2024?
Yeah, February 2024.
Okay.
And it asked about the workbook that you have to submit, so I'm not sure what that is.
you don't need to do a workbook anymore. I'm glad that came up. In the past, for the old coaching clinics, you had to do the workbook.
Yeah.
It's no longer required,
Okay.
which is good.
Under on-ice equipment and apparel, my assistants don't have BMHA jackets, they're on order. They get from BC Hockey, or do you want that covered?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I think in the end of the day, the idea is a black support, like coat, something like along those lines is fine. I don't think they have to have BMHA logos by any means. We prefer it. We'd like our coaches to look professional on the ice, and players, I think.
It's for like, please don't have like your spring hockey.
Oh yeah,
logos
no,
on
they
there,
have
like,
ones.
Don't have
I
Vancouver
have like
on there.
BC Hockey's in the meantime,
Or
but I was
that.
just wondering if they needed to be covered as per policy, or if they were good till the BMHA ones come in.
We're going with no.
I'm gonna say no.
We're going with no.
We're gonna go with no one. No one's policing it. Like, we don't want you to wear jeans out there, right? But no one's gonna, I don't know anybody, I don't know who has that role on the board of policing it, right? So, again.
Peer pressure, man.
Yeah,
We're
so
close
again,
to
it's
jeans
all
on
about
there.
looking
Forget
professional.
about it.
We'd like you to look good out there in front of the players. That's kind of what it's about. So that's the idea of the apparel. Now, the CSA certified helmet, make sure it is. We'd hate to have you have a head injury and not have that, because I doubt you'll be covered by insurance, would be my guess. So make sure you have that coverage. And remember, they do expire, believe it or not. Okay, C, hockey affiliate player rules. So we had a whole slide based on affiliate player rules, and it is very complicated. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the basics. Okay, if you're gonna affiliate a player, they have to be from the division below you, and they has to be C-level player. Got it? And if you wanna affiliate a goalie, you have to ask the division below you first. If there isn't one available, you can get permission to have a goalie from your division. Okay, that's important to know. And if you start having to affiliate players a lot, really you have to go to the rules, because that's when it gets complicated. Certain divisions are allowed a certain amount of players that you could affiliate. It gets complicated. Like I say, if you gotta do it once or twice, just remember those basics, and you should be good for the season. So give me a
And
second.
on the goaltender, guys, I've come into a situation like tournaments at Christmas, for example. If you want to AP a goalie, you have to get like president or something. I'm going to try and get a couple designates this year as well, but I'm just letting you know, if you need permission for a goalie AP, like just, you can blast it out to all of us. Somebody will get a hold of me if I'm the one that needs to sign the form. I just don't want you guys stuck like on a weekend or something like that at a tournament trying to get a goalie. And then if I'm not around or something like this, so please just like get a hold of me somehow. You can blast anybody on the board, and they can text me or call or whatever you need.
And if you've had prior approval to affiliate a player, you have to do it every single time. Prior approval doesn't matter. Every single time you got to get approval for that. So make sure that you're on it. Next point. Sportsmanship points. I thought I'd put this on there because I'm typically realizing around Christmas that this is really affecting me. So I think it's important that you guys understand what the effect on your team is, and make sure your team understands it, because they won't understand until January. And it's really important. Like, I was in a position, we were close to winning our division, and I don't think we did because we were lacking a couple of sportsmanship points. And the kids really take it seriously, so just kind of make sure you remember that. a major penalty results right away in a loss of a sportsmanship point. And that's basically almost like losing a game. Important to understand. Now this one right here, this is more for your managers, but this one I never thought of, but I would really make sure that your managers are checking the game sheet afterwards. If the scorekeeper makes a mistake and puts on a wrong penalty that results in a sportsmanship point being lost, it's really hard to get that back. It can happen, but it's way easier if you get your managers to check it out earlier and make sure that it's not on there. And if it's on there, get them to explain it, take it off if they can't. The referees can miss those types of things. So really recommend taking a look at that after every single game if you can. All right, Jason, next one. All right, one of the new things that we brought out this year, basically we've tried to redevelop our development. So we brought on a new team of development coaches. For the U11 to U13 Bulldogs, we have Ty Babbage. For the Wildcats 11 to 13, we have a company called Empower. They did it last year, I believe. For U7 to U9, Neil Kwan, who's been doing it for a number of years. And then finally, we've got Lance Bourne doing U7 to U9. Everyone, I think, knows Lance. And one of the new parts of this is we are going to do in-house goalie development. And we have Sheldon Berg, who's going to be running that for us. So what we've done for development is we've taken all the kids. I think everyone's probably got emails on this. This probably isn't new, again. So the kids have been broken up into groups. The training is going to start now and it goes till January. They have bi-weekly training sessions, and what will happen is they have a total of 8 sessions in that time span. So just kind of be aware that's what's going to be what we're going to be looking to do. Coach mentorship is something that, really the idea is for inexperienced, younger coach, guys who haven't been doing it for very long, but anybody who wants to be on the ice for the development, we'd like you to go out. We've asked the development coaches to work with coaches, give them an opportunity to run drills, give them an opportunity to bring plays to the development ice time. At the end of the day, if we can get to a point where a coach is running the development ice time with the help of our development coaches, that'd be ideal. But I don't know about you guys. Who's coached for less than 3 years here? Fair amount. Like in my first 3 years, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm not sure I know now. But so any help that we can give you, I think, is the idea there. So if you're having any issues, we could reach out to development guys. You could reach out to me. I could try and steer you in the right direction. But one of the big things we're trying to do is to make sure that everyone's kind of putting a better product on the field and on the ice, I guess, and our kids are a little more successful.
Yeah, can I comment?
Yes.
We've got team snaps set up for each group for the development. So as coaches, please encourage the kids to go up to development. Like I would ask that you guys ask the kids to go to development. Ask your goalies to go to goalie development. Ask your skaters to go out for development, please. And then as far as being on the ice, like Ty was on the ice on Monday morning, 6:15. He's on the ice by himself, right? So it's not very efficient. So if you guys don't mind, please bring your skates. Maybe a couple guys jump on the ice if it's just with the drills, but just at least move pucks around maybe for them. And also for me, it's a safety thing. I don't really like guys being out there all on their own. So if possible, please bring your skates with you. And I did talk to him, for example. I don't know about Empower, Katie, but we're more than happy to have you on the ice. He's encouraging for you guys to be on there. So we're going to learn a few things for sure, but just helping them move pucks actually helps them become much more efficient as well, please.
The development coaches are aware that we want to do this. Every single one should know that, so we should do it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thanks. Katie's up.
All right. Okay, mandatory team meeting. A lot of you have probably already had this meeting. If you haven't, your team has to have a parent meeting by November 15th, where you review Burnaby Miners' key policies, talk about your coaching philosophy and how you're going to be running your teams. Also really important is that you cover the Burnaby Miner complaint process. So we have another slide coming up on that. So just take note of that and make sure you share that with your families. There's also the sportsmanship starts in the stands, which must be completed by every family on your team. So it's a short video, parents watch it, they fill out the BC Hockey declaration that they've watched it, email your manager and let them know that the video's been viewed and that information's collected and passed back to Burnaby Miner. And remember to talk to your team about the 24-hour rule. It's really important that parents, players, and other coaches wait 24 hours before bringing up a topic that they feel heated about, just to give them that time to decompress and see if they still care about it the next day. So November 15th, once you've had that meeting, you have to email, I believe it's your division manager, to let them know that that meeting's taken place and that everybody has gone over these policies and sportsmanship starts in the stands. All right, you can book meeting rooms for that. So Lakeview room is available. I don't think the activity room is available anymore. Rosemary Brown might have a room that you can book, but it is online under the resources section. So you can actually fill out a form, which goes to Larry, and he'll book the room for you to have the team meeting. You also vote on a budget at that meeting, so present what tournaments you want to participate in this year. Give your team an idea of what the team fee is going to be, so how much money do you need to cover these tournaments, to cover any apparel that you might want to buy, team activities like Christmas parties, wrap-up parties, trophies. Include some money for volunteer appreciation gifts, because the parents always want to do something at the end. It's nice if your team has a budget that one parent can kind of take that on. So that's also presented at the team meeting. All right, good. Calvin.
Hey, so yeah, I think some of the stuff that Adam already touched upon on qualifications, the biggest piece for me would be the criminal checks. I might have reached out to some of you, many of you, to some of the division managers already kind of chase these down. So we have a pretty good process going on there, but please make sure you get those out of the way, or it's one of the requirements. You won't be able to be rostered as a team official. And in conjunction that, all your pertinent respect in sport, and also the CAP, professional awareness training. And just a reminder, you guys all signed up to be here, be present. You guys signed up here to help develop our players. Be present when you're developing with the kids, the players, on ice and off ice. Just to kind of highlight the dressing room policy. Some of you may or may not have been here last year. Hockey Canada provided kind of more of a guideline around the rule of two, so ensuring that you always have a designated parent or one of your team officials to be present in the dressing room at all times. We're kind of in an environment, we have integrated players. We're in a very inclusive, equitable, and safe environment. We want to continue to do those things to ensure that everybody's safe in the dressing rooms. The other thing that Hockey Canada had brought up last year, September, was the minimum attire rules all around base layers that you guys have all heard of. So the requirement is that it's more of a guideline. BC Hockey is following that all players come into the dressing room with base layer on. So depending on whether you're integrated or on the female side, have the base layers on. Obviously, rinks are going to have different circumstances based on the setup, common rooms, and so forth. So as an association, we should all, this is kind of more common sense. It's like going to a public swimming pool with all genders and everything. We have to figure out how to make it right for everybody, right? So let's kind of be thoughtful around how we mandate those within your teams in cross practices and games. It also follows on the showering. There's kind of a protocol you can try to follow. If there's showering, maybe you need to have kind of the majority of kids shower first, and then you can kind of sequence that to make it accommodating for any other players that need to shower after, and do use the dressing rooms to kind of sequence that in a way that's going to provide that privacy and inclusivity for all your players to utilize the shower. No videos or photos in the dressing rooms. You can play music on your phone, well, last I read from Hockey Canada, but no videos and photos. And really, violent activities, that's a pretty obvious thing. Even kids boxing in the dressing room is not something we should let kids be doing in there. So this really prevent a lot of the bullying, hazing, all that such things that we want to protect our players from in the dressing rooms. So yeah, everything should be on your Sportal. If you haven't set up your Sportal, you should. You should have visibility to all of your certifications and everything on there. If not, get set up on Sportal. Our registrar will get you set up there. Make sure you have an HCR number. And some of the things that Adam already touched on: proper gear, helmet. It's a minimum thing that you need CSA approved helmet on the ice. And yeah, we'll have one meeting this Thursday, more dedicated specifically around the safety and risk part of it, but this is kind of more related to the coaches and what you guys need to be aware of generally for risk. Next slide. Yeah, so I think Adam or Keith kind of touched a little bit on this. So any travel and tournaments, make sure you follow the BC Hockey and PCHA guidelines on this. The insurance only covers sanctioned events. So anything that's not sanctioned or the BC Hockey insurance is doesn't work. But any insurance that needs to be applied for travel outside province or even outside country, you need to apply for a special event for sanctioned tournaments and games and so forth in order to make those eligible and make sure that the insurance covers all of your players, including siblings and so forth. So the sanctioned the insurance covers actually siblings for travels and parents as well. So make sure you follow the process in terms of applying for the insurance to cover any travels and tournaments. And there's a bit of an approval process. I need to approve this and get the HCR number for the games. That will go through the president, Keith, and PCHA, BC Hockey in order to get those tournaments lined up. Yeah, so those are tournaments. Yeah, kind of hard link there. It's a lot to, it's a pretty summarized version of the BC Hockey Policy Manual, Section 5. Kind of touch on the things I've kind of spoken on. Refer back to it if you guys have any questions or things you're not clear about, but do reach out to me if you guys have any questions around these things. Yeah, stickers. Yeah, HCSP safety. They can be on the bench as trainers, but yeah, they cannot coach. They can only be on the bench as a facilitator of the safety and training on the bench. Our insurance also covers pre-game, so when kids are warming up outside before getting on the ice, so in the hallways and change rooms, they are insured there. Anything that's kind of outside that realm, you actually have to get a special sanction required kind of insurance to cover those things.
A little pregame warm up outside the facility, like a nice warm day down the side.
Yeah, I'll get back. I was thinking on this as I was reading through it. It's like, well, outside this seems okay, but maybe there's some. I'm
I
not.
think you can apply for that.
Yeah.
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 So when this gets sent out or posted on the website, the link for applying for the additional insurance will be on there, which is through BC Hockey. And I'm pretty sure our team's been able to, you just say like, we're gonna warm up on the patio outside Bill Copeland, and BC Hockey will sanction that. Yeah. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's me.
That's it for me.
Okay, so I mentioned that you really want to go over the complaint process with your parents. Hockey can bring out the best and also the worst in some people, as I'm sure we all know. So on the Burnaby Minor website, there is a section called Forms and Documents, and this is where you can find the Burnaby Minor bylaws and the Burnaby Minor policy manual. So if you think that someone is in violation or that something is happening that is not in accordance with our bylaws, our constitution, our best practices, you can see the documents that govern Burnaby Minor there. As well, the Burnaby Minor incident form is available there. So if there is an incident which somebody is not pleased with and they want to make it an official complaint, this form has to be filled out and submitted within 7 days of the incident. So it's a rather quick turnaround, so it's important that your families know that. They can't bring up issues from 2 or 3 months before. Of course, like I mentioned before, we're gonna encourage everybody to use the 24-hour rule. If parents come to you right after a game and it hasn't been 24 hours, you don't need to engage with them in that moment. You can say, hey, we're gonna take a break from this and sit on it for tonight, but then we can come back and discuss this after 24 hours has passed. So please do make sure that you utilize that with your teams and enforce it if the situation arises. So if a parent has an issue with one of the coaching members, there is a certain process we want them to follow so that they're not just running straight to the president with their complaints. So their first point of contact should be your team manager. This is a really good reason for having some diversity in your head coach and your team manager. I know that sometimes husbands and wives or partners want to take these two roles on together, but it really is good if you have two different ideas, okay, or two different perspectives in those roles instead of people who are living in the same house. So find a manager that you're not sleeping with. So the complaint goes to the team manager, and then that person can bring it forward to the coach. And then if it's still not settled at a team level, then you can involve your division manager. Okay, then the division manager is going to try to help you work through the situation. If that doesn't work, then it can come to your director. Okay, so it's me for female hockey, it's Ian for U9 and below, and it's Lindsay for U11 to U21C. If we still can't solve that issue, then we're going to pull in Neil Kwan, the VP of Programs. And then if we still can't get the issue solved, then we'll bring it to Keith. Okay, but we do want to try to keep things at a team level first, because that's really the best approach to solving issues, is to do it there before we start bringing in outside people who weren't there for the incident and aren't there every day with you guys on the ice. So the incident form is hyperlinked there, so you'll get it in the presentation afterwards. And one piece of policy that we want to bring your attention to is the DMH policy 20.101, which gives coaches the authority to suspend a player for up to 2 games without any board approval. So if a player is engaging in some unruly behavior that you've tried to correct, you've spoken to them about, perhaps you've even brought parents in and spoken to them about it, and you feel that the only way to get the message through is to suspend this player, or if something took place in a game, that you witnessed or you saw in the change room afterwards, you do have the authority to suspend the player for up to 2 games, and the executive will back you up on that. If it's something that's more egregious and you feel it needs a bigger suspension, then that needs to come to board review. Okay. All right. Hockey Canada registration number. This is also called your Hockey Canada registry number now, or HCR number. In the past, it's been called the Hockey Canada ID, HCID, and the Hockey Canada identification number. Your managers have access to this for each player on Team Snap with their manager access. And if you are in Team Snap as a non-playing member and you also have manager access so that you can tinker with ice times, you should have access to that. If you are dealing with any type of incident with PCHA or with Burnaby Minor with one of your players, it's good to reference that number. It's also good for you to have that number because I believe it's required to set up your Sportal account if you haven't done that yet, okay? All right, game officials, so our referees. So we have Dennis here tonight. I'm sure you're gonna give a bit more information about referees, but really from the board level, we want to hammer home that as the head coach, you are ultimately responsible for the conduct of every person at the game. So for your players, for your parents, for their siblings, for their guests, anyone who comes, ultimately it's your responsibility to make sure that they are behaving. And of course we say try to establish this just through your general interactions with your team and at your parent meeting. But also one thing to consider is the conduct of visiting teams. In the past, we've had messages from the city of Burnaby about teams being quite rowdy in their pregame warm-up. Maybe they're warming up at the back of Bill Copeland with their music blaring while there's a game going on. That's something we don't want to see. So you might have to talk to them and ask them to move or to turn down their music. Or they are, running around like hooligans when there's other people in the lobby. We're in public spaces and we just need them to respect that. So that's something that does fall to the coach. And of course, you are the role model for your team. You are the one that everybody's looking to. So you need to conduct yourself in the way that you want your players and your families to conduct themselves. So remaining cool on the bench, remaining cool after games, getting down to a referee's level to speak to them, of course, is important. And respecting the authority of the referee. They're not going to get every call right. There's going to be kids that, are probably not much older than the kids that they're reffing. And we want them to come back and continue doing this. So really being supportive and respectful to the referees is important. Hockey Canada maltreatment section 7, or section 11, pardon me. We actually have a referee educator in the house, so I asked her Mia, to speak to the maltreatment rule.
Hi, if you don't know me, I'm Mia. I'm the U13A female head coach, but I'm also one of BC Hockey's officiating coaches, and I teach super clinics. Maltreatment section 11.1, unsportsmanlike conduct, is a focus this year for all of the young officials. It's been an emphasis point, particularly because in past unsportsmanlike conduct that has not been addressed kind of escalates into something worse. No one wants to be going home with a game misconduct or gross misconduct. Essentially, to protect the young officials in the context of maltreatment, it's making sure that there's no inciting incidents. So inciting a player would be like your players getting up super close to the other players, chirping, trash talking. That doesn't have a space in hockey, and as coaches, we all have a responsibility as well to help create a better environment for that. So we're disciplining if trash talking is occurring. That's not part of hockey anymore, and we all have that responsibility to change the culture. Similarly, maltreatment is not just coach to official. The officials can penalize you for maltreatment towards your players. If they notice that you're being particularly egregious towards a player, they can penalize that as well. So that's something important to know, that this exists in every context. So from every relationship that happens in the rink, maltreatment can be penalized and is a prevalent focus point. So basically just keeping unsportsmanlike conduct under control. And if you do talk to officials, we do teach them how to talk to coaches. It is encouraged. Like Katie said, make sure you get down on their level, step down off the bench. I personally will not talk to a coach if they don't step down off the bench. I'll just skate away. And make sure we're not getting too heated. Hockey's a passionate game, I understand, I coach, but they are young kids, and it is important to remember that they're kids the same age as your kids, and we were all there once, and it's not fun to have a grown man yelling at you, towering above you, and can make you want to quit hockey and never return to the sport. So I think that's kind of the basis for maltreatment, is to protect those officials and to protect the players on the ice as well, to ensure that we're all having a good time.
Awesome, thanks Mia. All right, Dennis.
Hey, my turn. Adam asked me to come talk to you guys today, mostly about your conduct and how you interact with referees and their game officials. So the hard part is everything else in this presentation has had rules, points, guidelines, this book, that reference. When you communicate with officials, there are no black and white rules, right? When you cross the line, if you cross the line, like Mia said, you're gonna get hit with a misconduct, you're gonna get 2 minutes a game, you're gonna get tossed. But until you reach that point, how you conduct yourselves, it's so variable. You know, you gotta remember that most of the majority of the officials are kids. Some of them have more experience, some of them are fairly new, some of them maybe didn't get sleep. Some of them, their scenario is exactly the same as every player that you guys coach in your teams, right? You got kids with different attitudes, some are gung-ho and want to go all out. Some are there because you think their parents just drag them to the rink to get rid of them for an hour. Okay? You don't know what the kids have been going through, a rough day at school. They show up at the rink. Some of them are really trying hard. Some of them just kind of mail it in. You gotta, the difference is, the contrast is that you have to treat them, when you want to speak to them or interact with them, like they're grown up. It's funny how many times I show up at a rink and I'm officiating, and all the other kids go, I hate this coach, I hate this team, they yell all the time. And then I'm on the ice and I don't hear a peep, right? Because those coaches have a totally different demeanor and attitude when there's an older person on the ice. The hard part is that you gotta also accept the fact that, you know, you treat them with that respect, but at the same time you gotta bite your tongue because you know they're gonna screw up. That's the hard part. Being patient and accepting, just like me, it's like, you know, they're all learning. They don't have the benefit of a practice once a week, twice a week, or, you know, a rep team with 3 practices and 2 games in a week. If they're lucky, we have a really great officiating crew, but there's so many of them that sometimes they're only getting a game like every 10 days. Literally, they're kind of a little bit rusty every time they step on the ice, right? And they've got to shift their mindset from a game player attitude to an officiating attitude. And I see it all the time. They kind of start to wander and lose their position. So the hard part is, like, you know, when you want to talk to them, you got to be really kind of forgiving, patient, treat them with a lot of respect, just knowing that they're kind of putting themselves out there. They know that they're kind of in a profile, you know, target, right? And just kind of basically be nice to them. I was saying to Adam, like, when you want to have a conversation with them, kind of, I won't say joke around, but try not to come across as being super pissed off or accuse them of making mistakes. If you approach your conversation and your demeanor and even your body language, you'll get a lot more either answers from you or from them, or they'll just come and actually engage with you. Like Adam was asking me, like, you know, there's this little PCHA thing going around the last couple of years, like, the refs don't have to talk to you. If you go like this, they'll give you 2 minutes. Like Mia said, I think the message has been out there for a few years, but it's really kind of getting overlooked and forgotten. And the events per se that happen between officiating and coaches hasn't gone down, right? So that's why they keep harping this message. And like Mia said, this year there's a stronger emphasis on all that maltreatment, okay? It's really kind of just, you know, approach the game like you're super competitive and you're out there, but you're also just trying to let the kids have fun, and you're also trying to let the officials have fun. They're all doing it, most of them, because they love it. They're having fun. Right? It doesn't hurt that they make a lot of money, but it's no different than the kids on your team. So, any questions?
It's a tough spot to be and advocate for the referees in front of a bunch of coaches, so thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? I've been a coach. I've got my Dev 1. I've coached a long time. I've bit my tongue a lot. I know what they're going through, so, you know, I think I have a little more patience and grace with them, but I do get really annoyed. I get annoyed watching them when I'm supervising. Like, oh, like, I'm up here going, why did they do that? But it's just instinct and reaction, and it's sort of something that you kind of have to keep it in check in the back of your mind, like, oh, I better not do that, right? The kids will see that, so they know that if you're kind of doing this all games, that they may not want to come and talk to you. And when you really want to get an answer for something that happened, they're just like, no, Coach, sorry, right? I don't want to hear it. So if you do want that communication channel and that interaction, and then it's a real two-way street, then yeah, you guys got to kind of put on a little bit of a smile and hope that they will not be intimidated. A lot of them are intimidated, so keep that in your mind, right?
Thank you, Dennis.
Angela. Hi. So, a lot of you may have gotten emails from me because I have created a distribution list for the free ice. If you know of any assistant coaches that need to be on the list, send me a note and I'll add them. So with the ice, everybody should be on their schedule. If you have ice to return, schedules will come out for C. Games will start after Thanksgiving. So it's in the works, it's coming out soon. If you have a game on your practice, please return the ice. Because I could use it to resolve any conflicts. If you have some conflicts, let me know and I'll work it out with you. Is that understandable? I try to give you the ice. I look at the schedule for both teams, so I give you an ice that both teams can attend. Because it's a lot of work. If I give you an ice and say, no, that team can't work. But I look at both sides, so I try to give you one shot, yes, we'll take it. That works really well. Saves up a lot of time in the communication. If you return the ice, it's great because I can use it for conflicts, and sometimes if you return the practice ice, I can combine a 2 practice ice back to back and make a game. So please return the ice. Don't swap with another team. try not to do that because I still need to know who has the ice in case of an incident that the city has, the ice guys complain about a group not doing this or left it in a mess. They will let me know and I will pass it on to the coach, to the team. So that's returned ice, conflict games, ice deposits. Yeah, I need 3 weeks notice for returned ice, 1 week to post, and then 2 weeks with the city ice, I can return the ice. Scotia barn ice, I can't return, so we try to use it. If you see a posting and you want the extra ice, you're welcome to send me a note. And then if there's more than one team looking for the same ice, I will look and see how many times you may have received a free ice, and I try to distribute it equally amongst everybody. So what's a free ice? So if you return an ice day on Friday, I need to know at least 3 Thursdays before. It's always, if it's a Friday, return it the day before, because that is 2 weeks prior to your ice time. Anything else? Pretty simple. Oh, and also when your schedule comes out, if you return the ice, let me know if you're in a tournament. That also helps me determine that I don't give you an ice that you're away in a tournament, right? Tournaments are coming up: Thanksgiving, Remembrance Day, Christmas. The no ice dates are out on the website. I've also sent it out with the free ice recently. So keep checking because it may change, but that is the majority of the no ice schedule. Remembrance Day, there will be most likely no ice at the city rinks because of a ringlet tournament. At Scotia Barn, it was the female tournament. And then there are other odd days that outside user groups have booked. Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to send me a note.
Just a quick one. Is there a limit to how much free ice one team can get in a season?
No, there isn't. But if I try to look, I keep a record who I assign it to. And if you had it the last couple of weeks, then I'll try to find another team. But if nobody else wants it, then absolutely. I'll try to. We don't want to have ice sitting now, right? It's very expensive as it is. So if somebody can use it, and sometimes if I don't get a response, I may send that free ice out again. And sometimes if something gets, for whatever reasons, get returned to me at the last minute, I need to turn it around real quick. Then I will say, first response will get it, right? That's the quickest way it seems to work. So no, there is no limit, but I also have to be fair. And usually prime ice is very popular. Okay, any questions? Just fire me a note.
Okay. All right, jerseys and equipment. So Sherry Dew is our wonderful equipment manager for Burnaby Minor. She's super responsive through her, I think there's an online form system now that you fill out to book an appointment with her to come pick up your jerseys, socks, and game pucks, and a first aid kit from down below. Pennies, the association does not carry pennies that we lend out to teams. We just have the pennies that are used in evaluations, but you can purchase some with your team if you want. Apparel, there are some branded or official BMHA suppliers, which are listed on our website. There's Scott's Hockey Shop, Real Hip, and Timeout Sports on the North Shore. They have online catalogs that you can look through, and you can go and get sample sizes for your team to try on before doing an order. You can go to other suppliers, I believe. Keith, did we change that? They can go to other suppliers, or no? That was a discussion we had last year.
I thought we kept it to the 3.
Okay, so we're keeping it to the 3 this year. Okay, so only getting BMHA apparel from those 3 suppliers. It's because they have the proper logos for our teams, and they have, a certain standard that we're comfortable with. We know it's going to look good on our teams in the community. Goalie equipment is organized by another wonderful volunteer named Steven Stubbs. He's also super responsive via email. So if you are borrowing goalie equipment for your team, you can email Steven, his contacts on our website, along with Sherry's, to set up a time to pick up goalie equipment. You need to bring a player that is either the goalie that's going to wear it, or if you're a younger team, is the average size of the kid on your team, so that he can have an idea of what he's looking for. Because a U9 female is probably going to be a lot different in size than a U9 male player. So U9 teams, you're getting 2 sets of goalie equipment because you have 2 games going on at once. U7 integrated has 2 games at once. U7 females 1 game. So that's the goalie equipment that you're picking up. Steven has a form that you fill out, which documents each piece of equipment that you're borrowing, and then you pay a deposit. I believe it's $100 cash. Has anyone picked up goalie equipment recently?
It was 50.
$50. Okay, so $50 and it's cash, right? He wants cash?
Yeah, there was
Yes.
cash.
Okay, so usually the head coach pays that $50 for the goalie equipment. Could be the manager if that's the person taking the goalie in, or whatever you've arranged on your team. But you get that money back when you return the goalie equipment. Name bars and letters. So starting last year, we permit name bars on our Burnaby Minor jerseys, but it has to be done through Scoffs Hockey. So Scoffs has a process that does not impact the quality of the jersey. You can't tell that there was a name bar on it by the end of the year. It's $30 to get a name bar put on each jersey and to get the name bar made. And then I believe he takes it off at the end of the year as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's included in your $30. If you have name bars from last year, you can bring those name bars back, and it's only, I think, $17 to have them put on and then removed afterwards. So if your team would like to do name bars, it has to be done through Scoffs. If you're going to assign letters to your team, they need to be hand sewn on. So it's very light stitching, not with a machine because that will leave holes in there. It's a based stitch. I actually teach textiles, so yeah.
Not ironed, please. Not
Yes,
ironed.
don't iron it on.
All those old jerseys that we see with all the little A's on them still, that's from being ironed on. Please do not iron on.
Yeah. Yeah, so Stephen and Sherry, like I said, really easy to get a hold of and a pretty seamless process to come and get the equipment that you need.
The apparel website is not updated.
Real Hip has a whole
Yeah, Scott's is
store.
not there, and Cyclone Taylor is there.
Okay.
So probably need to correct that.
I'm pretty sure it's Timeout, but I think
Yeah,
it's
Timeout is there too.
yeah, Timeout and Cyclo Taylor's is there as well.
Cyclone Taylor should be replaced by Scott's.
Okay. Excellent. So, well, Scoffs is so close. Just pop in there. They've got lots of Bulldog stuff on display in there as well. Okay, I'm keeping going. Okay. All right, any association-wide email is going to come through TeamSnap. You might see them sent from Agnes. Keith has sent them out as well. We have 2 social media pages. We have a Burnaby Bulldogs and a Burnaby Wildcats Instagram page and Facebook page for each one of those groups. If your team does something fun, if you have a great, I don't know, you go to a Canucks game, or you get to play in the Timbit game at the Giants game, maybe they do a volunteer initiative, please take some photos and send it to us at socialmedia@burnabyminor.com so that our communications manager, Agnes, can put it up onto social media. So I think it's great for families to see what we're doing in the community and what Burnaby Minor teams are doing, so please do share that with us. Sticks and pucks. Are we doing it this year?
We will have one soon, one Christmas, and one year end, I think. So we'll do maybe 3. Is the plan?
Yes. So your division managers will probably reach out to your team managers asking for stick and pucks content. So you win a tournament, you go to some cool tournament on an outdoor rink in Washington, or I don't know what other fun things that teams do are, but anything that's different, please send it in. We love sticks and pucks content. And your Burnaby Minor authorized suppliers, Scoffs, Real Hip, and Timeout Sports. Okay? All right, Adam, you get the last word.
This is the last slide. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
There you go.
7:22. Yes.
Yes.
For lettering,
Yeah.
does it matter on which side, or like is there any direction on that?
usually on
Left.
the left.
Yeah. And Scoffs has the official colors for the Burnaby Minor jerseys. Yeah. So, but you guys are in Atomic jerseys, so bring those in so we can at least see those. Yeah. But other than that, the sublimated jerseys, he has the official colors for letters. Yeah.
Okay, in conclusion, a few things from me, guys. One was on the suspensions. BC Hockey minimum suspension guide. Please find it and keep it handy for yourself, especially for those at the older age groups. Trust me, you'll get to use them a lot more often. U18, I don't know why, but it's up to the coach, you guys. Just one thing, I had to learn this along the way. Is it's if you get a game misconduct, if a player gets a game misconduct, let's say you're in a tournament on a weekend, you're not waiting for an email from BC Hockey, right? You're responsible for it. So make sure you understand the code that you see on the game sheet. Go to the BC Hockey minimum suspension guidelines, have a look. You know, if it's head contact, whatever the game misconduct might be for, and it says right on the side, it'll say 1 game, 2 game. It's up to you guys to police that, okay? The more serious infractions will come down from BC Hockey, but that's usually like 5 days, 7 days later. So just please be aware of the minimum suspension guidelines, okay? It's up to us to enforce those. Does that make sense? Ice deposit. So, did anybody bring a check today? Ice deposit check? By chance? A few of you? Okay. So, I'll get them and then, so basically the process, guys, give us the ice deposit check when you get to it. How are we going to do this? How's it go? Through the DM, I guess, to...
Ice deposit checks? If
Yeah.
they don't bring it?
We didn't have it today. Like, most people don't have it today.
We have
Yeah.
a lot of managers.
The managers might be
Perfect.
bringing them.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, he's my manager. That's why I don't know the answer to this. So. Yeah. Okay, so we get the ice deposit check, and then the referee payments. We are very hopeful to do e-transfers this year. So it's set up. We've got it set up with Scotiabank. Our treasurer, Aaron Shuto's been great. So we've got hopefully e-transfers set up for the ref payments. Okay, so that's the process. We get the ice deposit checks, then you get your ref payments. Okay. Okay, and then the other thing I just wanted to mention, just for fun for coaches, you guys, tournament site. So BC Hockey has a tournament site. You go on there, you type in the division, you type in the dates that you want to look for it, and it shows you everywhere you want to go in BC, anything local. We use it quite a bit. Down in the States, you can go for tournaments down in the States, just so you know. It just has to be USA Hockey sanctioned. So they will give you a TPN for tournaments. We go to Everett or Winthrop or anything like this. That's the only sort of notes I have. My other parting words for you guys is I always look at it like, 15, 16 families on a team, and there's only one of us that stands up to be the head coach, or is actually the head coach on that team. So really important. We create the memories for the kids, and I think we went through it. We create the positive memories, but we can also create the negative memories. So the way I look at it every year, you guys, is that we're trying to create the best experiences for the kids as possible. That's the memories that they're going to hold forever. So thank you guys very, very much. We really appreciate all your work on the ice. That it? Good? All right. Thank you guys.
Question over there.
For Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what are the subtle rule changes that we should be aware of? 'Cause I know there's the one puck out of the zone.
Yeah.
Oh, you want like actual
I
referee?
can tell I know the rule changes.
Yeah, she's
Okay,
been
yeah.
instructing the
Thank you.
classes, so.
Rule changes for this year, puck out of play, it is always in the defensive zone now, so it doesn't matter who it goes off, it will be in the defensive zone. That's to stop coach arguing, it went off them, it went off us, vice versa. Now, goalie skate blade, that's a big one. So if the goalie skate blade comes off and it's not imminent scoring chance, play will be whistled dead. So it used to just be blocker, glove, helmet. Now it is also skate blade. Hand pass must be deliberate, cannot be a deflection. So if you've got a defender like this, hits the glove and it deflects off, not a hand pass, regardless of if it's in the offensive zone. It's got to be a deliberate motion. And then other than that, you can now roster up to 20 players, not just in junior, any level all the way down to U9, 2 goalies, 18 skaters. Those are the big ones. Nothing else is really changing.
I had to go to her class.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you.
Dean?
For Jason, I can't sign into the volunteer portal.
Did you make sure you use a lowercase for email for your username and password?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm assuming even though we're all volunteers, we still have some login.
If you're rostered, you don't have to do anything. If you log in, at some point you'll see 10 hours credited to your advantage.
Okay. Good. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great season, guys.